Devon Van Onselen, welcome to the Tokyo Living Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you are the head of strength and conditioning for Cricket Japan. Now, I think there's probably a lot of listeners who might not know that cricket is such a big thing here in Japan, and also might not be aware of the role of a strength and conditioning coach in a sport such as cricket. And we'll touch on that as we go through the interview. But perhaps to get started with, if you could just give the listeners a little bit of background about yourself and how you came into this opportunity here in Japan.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here, and I think it's good that Japan needs to learn about cricket.
Yes, for sure.
So I'm originally from South Africa, as my accent gives me away.
Must be one of my favourite accents, I think.
And I've been a professional S&C for, I think, the better part of 11 years now. Started during a club training session where I met one of my mates who was the S&C of the franchise team there, and I asked him, how can I do what you're doing? And he showed me the way, basically told me, go to that college and come spend some time in the gym with me. And, fell in love with the job, and that eventually got me into my first gig with the B-side team. And that went on for 2 years, moved over to India for 2 years, then back home to go back into professional cricket, into the bigger teams, and ended up at the Dolphins in Durban. And during the 2020 Under-19 Cricket World Cup, I saw Japan's in the World Cup, and I was like, that doesn't seem right,
Yeah.
And I went onto Twitter, I saw he's involved with the team, how does it work, and it looked like these guys are, they're moving forward. And got hold of Alan and said, listen, can I be part of Japan cricket for the World Cup? I'm happy to do it for, at my cost, and just going to throw balls, help you guys with whatever you need, give you the lay of the land. And he said, sure, jump on board. And it was quite a successful trip. And we stayed in touch. And then last year, he gave me a call and said, listen, we finally find a way to get you on board. And I said, I'll pack my bags and wait at the airport. So here I am. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited for what Japan cricket has, how can I call it, installed.
Yeah. And is your background been in cricket the whole time? Have you dabbled in S&C for other sports?
In India, I was exposed to a few different Olympic sports, swimming, boxing, and I worked for a team there called a sport called Pro Kabaddi. Very interesting sport. It's running Red Rovers, tackle rugby, all combined on the judo mat. So
Sounds amazing.
it's amazing. It's very disciplined athletes, and a good structure to work in. And I learned quite a lot from those guys. So
Yeah.
it was quite fun.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's always just been cricket. Since I know, it's just always been cricket. So
Yeah. And coming into this position in Japan, what did you sort of identify as your main sort of goals, both, I guess, more broadly within the association, but also, specific, if we're talking about strength and conditioning interventions like load monitoring and obviously strength training. Are there specific specific trends amongst the playing groups that you're working with that you need to work on, whether that's running mechanics, sprinting between the wickets, power in the throwing from the outfield, power hitting the ball. What did you sort of identify as the things that you need to work on, and then how does that sort of filter into your sort of day-to-day operations in what you do?
So we mainly play T20Is, which is fast-paced, hard-hitting, fast bowling, hard running kind of format of the game. It's very popular worldwide, and that's basically our ticket into World Cups is through T20 cricket at the moment. And then when I got to Japan, the coach spoke to the coaches, spoke to the captains, and got got an understanding from their side. What do they feel the guys need? Guys bowling faster. These guys need to be a bit faster between the wickets. That guy needs to hit the ball a bit harder. So then it comes down to understanding where that guy is as an athlete. Can I just jump a few blocks with him, or do I need to actually build a foundation? And more or less the case is finding out who can do what and when. Because the when is a big part, because they're not professional athletes. So finding time in their day-to-day job and then figuring out how can I meet their needs in a 20-minute workout, or during his lunch break. And then take age factors. I've got a broad spectrum of age factors that I need to work with, and a broad set of teams that I need to look after. So it's open line of communication is my best weapon at the moment. But it's exciting. But I think my first part now was understanding what's needed, and then exposing the right way of doing it. While I say the right way, my experience to it. So and then building on that.
And logistically, how do you go about? Are you sort of setting programs? Do you get any sort of like one-on-one time with the players? There's a lot of sort of video conferencing? Are you setting up programs with demonstration videos, things like that? How does that look like logistically?
So I think that takes me back a few years, because now I have to go redo what I did at the start, and that is working with guys that I don't see every day. So that's a video call there, and phone calls, a lot of them, and then setting up their needs accordingly. Guys sending video clips of how they do workouts or movements, and I say, yes, that's good, or let's try and do that. And I record local players doing the workouts, say, this is what I kind of want to see. When it comes to running mechanics, like, this is how I want you to run because of X, Y, and Z, I look at video clips when they play club cricket, and look at their bowling mechanics and say, okay, well, I see we're doing this, and this is how we're going to correct it, and record yourself bowling, and then we'll look after it and progress. So the communication is my best weapon at the moment, and I think we're on the right path of that. We are delving into AMS systems that could streamline all of this a bit better, but finding the right tools with all of the nice shiny tools that's out there to use, it's quite difficult, and you have to take costs into consideration as well.
For sure.
But nothing a phone call can't fix. I think players value the phone call more than a thumbs up over some sort of different device,
Yeah. So, as I said before, many of the listeners might not know the depth of cricket in Japan. I know, working as a physio out here for the last 20-odd years, you would occasionally get someone coming in to see you with a cricket injury, but it was pretty rare. And I knew that there were a few sort of local leagues and local competitions, but I think it wasn't until I somehow got connected with Alan Kerr through LinkedIn that I saw, his description was like director of Japan cricket, and I thought, okay, what's your day job, sort of thing. And then got to know him, and got to go out and see the ground and the clubhouse in Sano, and see some of the tournaments there, and realize that it's actually quite a big operation. How is cricket in Japan structured in terms of different teams, different leagues? You have the national teams. How does that selection work? And what is the makeup of those teams? Is it mostly Japanese? Is it foreign expats, or foreign young athletes that are born here? How does that whole system sort of go together?
So it's an interesting one, and it was quite new for me to understand as well when I got here. It's like where does the players come from, and they pop up. That I can promise you. I think we're up to 60 clubs in and around Japan.
Wow.
Every cricket ground every weekend is packed with some sort of cricket going on, which is great.
Yeah.
We've got Sendai University. They're doing a good cricket program there. Our junior pathways are producing some very good Japan-based kids that are coming through the system, which is exciting to see, and the talent that's coming through that. Just looking at our recent under 19 World Cup, the Japanese boys that played, that serious good talent going around. And in our national team, we've I don't want to say I was surprised, but I was almost knocked over by how good some of our Japanese players are.
Really,
so that just shows how good the systems has been built over the years to produce these players. Other than that, we have obviously some expats staying in Australia that has got a Japanese mother or Japanese father. They're born in Japan, which makes them eligible to play for Japan and represent the country, which is great. And it's a huge honor for all of those boys to be able to do that. And you can see that when you look at the national teams, there's almost no divide between Japanese players and we're all Japanese players here. We all represent the national team, and that's good. So yeah, from a structure point of view, there's great feeder systems all around Japan and then around the world. Kids pop up and see, oh, Japan's doing well. I want to play for you. How do I do that? And I think Alan's email is full of guys just wanting to play for Japan.
Yeah.
And find out how can they do that. So that's very exciting.
Yeah. I guess on the other side of it, what do you do to sort of keep, like if you had a star player, for example, how does a country like Japan hold on to them and not have them go back and further their career in local cricket in Australia or go to India or somewhere else?
Tricky one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm not too sure about the logistics of that. But from what I know is if you represent one country and you go on to represent another, you've got a 3-year break. So let's say I go back home to represent South Africa. I can't play for Japan for another 3 years.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's kind of how that works. And in terms of keeping them here, we say please. So
yeah.
You don't want to stand in the way of someone going out to play bigger leagues or play in professional contracts where they you can't really stand in their way. But it's good for you as a nation because you produce that player.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's nice. And in a sense, I would love to see half my team play in pro leagues, and say go forth, because that just shows the work we put in.
Yeah, and you're contributing to their development and their career and their ability to make a living out of it. Yeah. You talked about sort of the lower leagues and kids coming up. How do you, as a strength and conditioning coach, influence their involvement in strength and conditioning, and especially in a sport where cricket, where like the strength and conditioning component of things isn't as much of the culture, I'd imagine, as a sport like rugby, which is seen as more of a power sport, where maybe the physicality is more important. How do you influence the sort of next generation of players that might be representing Japan in, say, 5 or 10 years' time, and making sure that they're developing the right physical characteristics and also doing what they can to prevent unnecessary injury?
I think it all bottles down to exposure of what S&C is like, and where they are in almost the rankings compared to where they want to be. You want to play at the World Cup, this is what it looks like to play at the World Cup, and according to your fitnesses, this is where you are. And that exposure hopefully motivates the player enough to work harder and to get on a call with me and see how we can get them there. And then it comes down to educating the coaches everything around S&C, how to work with the younger kids, to motivate them to be better. How can you incorporate S&C into your fielding drills? All of those kind of things. And then cultivating a love for fitness. I mean, that's what we all want to do in our environments is, it should come down to, I want to be fitter than my mate rather than fit for cricket.
For sure.
And I think if you can win that in some sort of way, your job becomes a lot easier.
You mentioned sort of the logistical challenges of your job being, different to in the professional leagues that you were working in before, where you would be seeing the players on a daily basis. What are some of the other challenges here that have been different to where you had worked in South Africa and India, either from a logistical challenge perspective or culturally with the different sort of mix of people here? What have been some other things you've had to work through?
Culturally, I'm learning quite a lot, especially when it comes to the female programs. How to approach them when it comes to S&C work. Talking to them, the language barrier will, until I learn Japanese fluently, it will always be a barrier with some players. But other challenges, like it's just no contact, which we are working to better. We've got regular training camps where I can talk to the players, see them, show them a few things, and that's mostly it. It's a language barrier is quite tough, and not having regular face-to-face contact with the players has its challenges, but nothing new technology can't fix.
Yeah. Just tapping into your professional head for a second, if there are people listening that are involved in cricket from a sort of recreational perspective, I would imagine most of my audience are not sort of 19-year-old cricket players. The sort of the middle-aged weekend warrior, maybe having a bit of a hit at the weekends. What's maybe 3 things that they could do to improve their performance and or decrease the likelihood of a cricket-related injury?
Good one. I think, especially from a recreational point of view, your cricket on the weekend is probably your workload spike for the week, and finding a way to minimize that spike. So finding 3 things in the 3 20-minute sessions in the week where your body just finds a way to handle that spike a bit better. And that can be doing some sprint works in the morning, down the road, running, set out 2 cones, run between the wickets a few times, doing some plyometric work in your living room, jumping up and down, making sure that we look after the hammies, look after the quads. Are we loading the hips enough? All those little things that the recreational guy kind of fall short of, and that's probably main causes of the recreational injuries. Not sprinting enough, not jumping enough, not enough plyometrics, not enough lateral movement, all of that. Just finding ways around your house to incorporate that. I think the best agility work you can do is trying to catch a 5-year-old with some sweets in his hand. So there's a way to go do that.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's really useful. So much of what we do is all about load management and avoiding those spikes in load, regardless of the activity that you're doing.
I think the biggest thing is just finding that balance in an active lifestyle, and that will take you millions years further than the next guy you're playing against on the weekend. So and I've seen the fruits of that when I played back in the day, some club cricket. The guy that works in the office all day but finds a 30-minute cycle in the afternoon, holds his own on the weekend and plays a full season. So I think it's having that balanced active lifestyle is just a very good idea to look into, and there's millions of things you can do out there to just to keep active.
Yeah, for sure. I guess sort of starting to wrap up a bit, if someone's listening and they had enjoyed I guess approaching this from two angles, if they've enjoyed either playing cricket when they were younger or enjoy watching cricket live, what's the best way to get involved with Cricket Japan, either as a player in some of these lower recreational leagues or watching some of the international tournaments and things like that that are held here in Japan out at the Sano ground?
Yeah, I think getting all of Dougal Benningfield is our club coordinator. Um, he'll put in the right place to get into a club, to get to a training facility.
Yeah.
We've just put up 2 training facilities in Tokyo.
Right.
So that's exciting for us. It gives our Tokyo-based players a place to train and, get involved with them, get some hits going, and, you might hit it further than them. So there's a place in the team for you then. So,
Yeah, terrific. Do you know where in Tokyo those are located?
you're asking the wrong guy.
Well, I'll try and get those details and
Yeah.
I'll pop them in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get involved. Get on a call, and the more the better for us at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome. And I guess finally, like, where do you see Cricket Japan going, sort of in the next 5 to 10 years, and what are the things you think are most important for cricket in Japan to make that next step to the next level?
I think we're in a very good place for Cricket Japan at the moment. I believe we're the strongest team in the East Asia Pacific region. We went to World Cup qualifiers in Oman early last year, and we did quite well. We went into the top 6, and no one expected us to be there, which was good to see. And people are starting to notice Cricket Japan a lot more now, especially with the interest we've seen in the Japan Premier League, and we're hosting the next East Asia Pacifics now, end of May. Where home advantage will hopefully play in our favor, and that's our progression to another World Cup. We've already had 2 under-19 World Cups, so that's very good. I think our pipeline of talented players coming from the under-19 into our men's setup is very strong, which is good, and that sets us good for another 20-odd years of talented cricketers to work with, So I think we're in a very good space within Japan cricket, and we've got the Asia Games coming up, which is held in Nagoya. We're just building our second international field there, which is exciting. And so from a cricket perspective for Japan, we are in a very good space moving forward, and I hope the world sits up and notices us. Because we're coming quite hard.
Fantastic. Well, obviously, being Australian and being from we'd like to think a strong cricket nation, it's really cool to see what's been done with cricket in this country, and the successes that you guys are having. And we wish you all the best going forward. And thank you very much for your time today. It's been great hearing about your journey and about your role with the association. And we look forward to watching things unfold from here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thank you for being a partner of us. You've helped us with a few injuries in the past, and you've got probably the best facilities in Japan that I've seen so far. So very good, and thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Devon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on the next episode.